Hello guys, this is Sapphire Yagami. I'm here with a review for Gotham Season 4. This season is known as Gotham, A Dark Knight. Obviously, we're hinting at more of Bruce getting more into his Batman persona. And this season is also, in terms of the first half of the season, will be inspired by the comic book story Batman The Long Halloween. And the second half will be Batman Year 1. So the first half of the season is just going to be titled The Dark Knight, hence The Long Halloween. Within this season, the first episode was titled Penguina, and within this episode, we see, we leave off from where we left last season. Due to the test virus was being spread to the city and, caused all this chaos, Penguin then decides to implement sort of a license to commit crime. So you go to Penguin, you get your license, and you can commit a crime. So right now, all the crimes that are being committed with a license is like simple. It's just simple, like, burglary or robberies. No murder or rapes or anything like that. It's just, burglary. And if you do not have a license to commit a crime, you essentially have crossed Penguin, and thus he sends Victor's ass after you. So this is group. They show us this wedding. I don't know why was they saying that damn Rick Ross song, cause that threw me off. I'm like, all I hear is "Never Gonna Give You Up." I'm like, oh my god, did Gotham just really do that? Really, Gotham? Really, Gotham? Really? So this couple, they just got married, they're cutting the cake, they end up getting robbed. However, Victor's ass comes in because this group did not have a license to commit this crime. And so the bride and groom was like, oh, thank you so much. He's like, don't thank me. Now, and then these new group of guys come in, he said, but they do have a license to, to commit a crime. So he goes, Mazel tov. I'm like, damn, that's gotta be a terrible day for a wedding. Oh my God. I mean, it could be worse, It could be a red wedding. So, at least they came out alive. So then we see Gordon, he goes to his, kitchen bar going, gets a cup of coffee, guys get robbed, and the dude's like, look, I got a license. Like, can you imagine a criminal? You see a criminal committing a crime and goes, look, I have a license for this. Like, what the fuck? What is going on? I have a license? What? So, Gordon, like, screw your license, takes the guy and throws him in jail. He gets to the GCPD. They're all looking at him. And then we see Harvey being talked to by, I guess you would say, Penguin's, I think he would be a lawyer. Penguin's lawyer said, because, Penguin has talked this over with the mayor, because the mayor's getting a cut out of this, basically, because, Penguin's now the king of Gotham. The underworld is pretty much under his control. So he made this little deal with the mayor. And he knows his biggest problem with this thing not going through is Jim Gordon. Because we all know Jim Gordon, if you watch past 3 seasons, he can be quite impulsive. So Gordon talks to Harvey, even though they really don't like the idea they have to comply. But Gordon worries that the fact that if Penguin keeps it up is that the people of Gotham, the citizens, they will no longer trust the GCPD to protect them. They won't have their trust in the police department. They're going to have trust in pretty much a crime, the underworld of crime. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, what? So, meanwhile, with all the, that's the issue with Jim Gordon this season, this first episode. Meanwhile, we see young Bruce, kind of doing his pre-Batman thing. He's got a simple. He doesn't have like a Batman mask. It's just a regular. I guess you call him the ski mask. And he goes, beats up some criminals trying to beat this couple down. My thing in Gotham City, if you know your city is known for crime, why the hell are you walking at night? And not just walking at night. It's not like you in a nice lit area. You walking in some dark ass places. Like, why? It's easier to rob you that way. Like, why are you gonna walk down a place where there's no light and there's no other people? If I'm gonna walk at night, I say if I had to walk home from work at night, I'm gonna make sure there's at least I'm walking in a well-lit area and make sure it's pretty active, because it's harder for somebody to commit a crime when you have all those factors, if it's a well area, you got all these, if you got other people around you to probably see what happened, you know what I'm saying? It's easier to kidnap you or do other stuff and rob you if the place is not well lit and there's nobody around. So, you know, Bruce does his thing, beats him up. The dude, he sees his license, so now Bruce is on it. And then we see out of this corner is Raish pretty much watching Bruce. So we see, so it's obvious Raish is trying to get his claws into Bruce Wayne. Meanwhile, Selena is training with Tabitha, you know, teaching her, you know, the skills that she needs that will eventually help her become the Catwoman that we all know and love. Yes. Like, I was so excited watching her use that whip. I was like, yes. I love it. Like, Catwoman is my favorite character. Second is Harley Quinn. But Catwoman is my favorite character. Like, I love her. Oh my god. Anyway, so, meanwhile, with Penguin, we do go to the Iceberg Lounge, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Wait a minute. Because I forgot to mention your boy. Okay. So, the group, remember I told you earlier, the group that robbed that wedding without a license. Okay, so they mad like, ooh, screw Penguin. We don't need no stupid license. We're going to be outlaws. I'm like, dude, calm the fuck down. Calm the fuck down. So, anyway. They go to Arkham Asylum and go after Jonathan Crane. Now, if you remember, which season was it? Was it season 1? See, I can't remember sometimes. Yeah, it had to be season 1. It was either season 1 or season 2. Anyways, no, it was season 1. Because we didn't hear about him for a minute. Yeah, it was season 1. Jonathan Crane, if you remember, his daddy was, you know, had this interest in phobias. As we know, that's Scarecrow's whole bit. But in the way Gotham has it is, Jonathan Crane was his father's assistant, and his daddy ended up injecting him with the fear toxin, you know, the fear serum. I don't think they called it the toxin, everything was just, you know, the serum. And for Jonathan Crane, last time we saw him, he kept seeing this Scarecrow. Scarecrows are not scary by themselves, especially the ones that you usually put out for Halloween and stuff. But if I saw a Scarecrow look like that, I'll be pretty scared shitless too, you know. So they go to Jonathan Crane, and the doctor who's supposed to be caring for these people, even these mentally patients, he goes, I keep him in line by using his fear again. I'm like, what? This man needs to be fired. That's not what you're supposed to do as a doctor. What the fuck? So Jonathan Crane, the group takes him because they need him to find. Pretty much because he did assist his dad, they need him to pretty much recreate the serum. So he goes, take him to the house, shows him all he has left of his father's research. Like, oh no, you're gonna help us. And Crane's like, no. So they bring a Scarecrow to scare the poor. But I'm like, I just feel bad for him. Like, really? Why would you do that? So they end up using him to create the fear toxin. They go and rob a bank, and, you know, infect the people. So people are freaking out like, fiery demons. So Gordon, realizing that these people are pretty much, because he's seen it before and had to deal with Jonathan's dad, they go to Arkham Asylum, and so they basically get the doctor to tell them who stole it by pretty much threatening him like, oh, when Penguin finds out, oh, you can get visited by Victor's ass and you don't want that. He was like, they threatened me. Like, what the fuck? I mean, but you gotta think about it. You really want to, you know, fuck with Penguin and Victor's ass? I don't think so. So they eventually find the men and pretty much go to Penguin and sort of manipulate Penguin so that the group can go to the Iceberg Lounge. And so Gordon is going to pretty much use them to sort of regain trust back to the GCPD. So at the opening of the Iceberg Lounge, Penguin's giving his little speech, and then he reveals Edward Nygma. As remember, he froze him last season, and he's going to be sort of like the main centerpiece of the lounge. And pretty much saying the reason he froze him because he had some mental illness. He had some sort of mental illness, which I'm pretty sure is supposed to be sort of a Easter egg to the fact that in the comics, that's what Victor Fries had did to his wife, was froze her so he could try to find this cure. So I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be like an Easter egg or a homage to that situation. Meanwhile, Tabitha and Selena shows up because Victor's ass basically says, Penguin says, let bygones be bygones, come get your license to commit your crimes, or he will eventually come and have to kill you. Pretty much come and get your license. So Bruce also shows up and he kind of gets distracted because he sees Selena, so they go out and talk, He apologizes for his behavior, when she came to the hospital to see what, to check on Alfred, because it's obvious she cares about him and he cares about her. But because if you know the relationship of Batman and Catwoman, it's just kind of all over the place, but they're so cute together. Oh my god! So the Africans are like, Master Bruce, that's pretty much, come see what's going on. And then Alfred makes a comment that why can't you teenagers go to a movie or something like normal teenagers, because they're like on the top of the roof, walking on the edge of the building and shit. Like, oh, can you just guys be normal teenagers? So Bruce goes back down. We see Penguin has caught the group that was against him before. And he's pretty much about to execute these people, and Bruce is about to go and try to go into his Batman persona, and that's when Alfred says that there's a time for you to be that persona, and then there's a time for you to be Bruce Wayne. So at this moment, he had to choose the Bat persona or Bruce Wayne. So in this case, he went with the Bruce Wayne route, and pretty much tries to get Penguin not to kill these people, and Penguin pretty much says that I do the dirty work that nobody else wants to do. Which, you think about it in terms of certain types of criminals, he does have a point. Certain criminals that most people, when it comes to most people, they think that they don't deserve to live out their life in prison. They need to be put down. Like people like serial killers or pedophiles, but the world doesn't work that way, so Penguin's getting ready to kill them, and then we see Ivy. She turns off the light, so obviously there's some sort of, they're criminals. You can't really expect them to hold an alliance for much longer. So she turns the lights off. Chaos ensues. Some of the men get away. Gordon arrests the ones he can. The men infect Penguin with the fear toxin, and he sees Edward Nygma. So obviously that's his greatest fear is Edward Nygma, the Riddler. So he sees Edward Nygma and it's all creepy and so like, and stuff like that. And then we go back to Jonathan the Crane, who was locked in this closet with the Scarecrow, and it eventually starts talking to him. So we're getting what we got with Edward Nygma when he became the Riddler, and he eventually becomes the Scarecrow. So that's where we're leaving off with him. And that's how the episode ends.
Moi je m'appelle Mademoiselle Noire, et comme vous pouvez le voir, je ne souris ni ris ni vis. Et c'est tout ce qu'elle a dit.